Good afternoon. Today we have a special guest for our meditations to join us, St. Joseph, March 19th, the feast of Joseph, husband of Mary. And there's actually two feast days for St. Joseph in our church calendar. The one we celebrate today, March 19th, and then May 1st, Feast of St. Joseph the Worker. But today is the larger of the two feasts. It's actually celebrated as a solemnity, which, if you don't know, means that if you gave up ice cream or chocolate or whatever you gave up, as long as it's not sinful, you can indulge in that today to celebrate this big feast in our church. So, hope that brightens your day a little bit. I know that it will for me tonight, later, with my little evening snack. So I'm looking forward to that. So, St. Joseph, why is he so great? What is the big deal? He is the husband of Mary, as we know, and for me personally, our family's always had a devotion to St. Joseph. He's always been there for our family in times of need, so we have a special love for him. And it's kind of surprising to me that he's been so good to my family because we haven't been so good to him at times. I know at one point we even buried him in our front yard when we were trying to sell our home, and during the excavation process, St. Joseph's head fell off, which wasn't so great. But he has continued to help us out, not only with selling of homes, but also in times of need. So I hope that your family and you personally can develop some sort of devotion to him as well. And at the end of this video, I'm going to post a special prayer on the parish Facebook page, a novena prayer that I hope you can pray with me over the next 9 days for our country and for the safety of our families. Okay, St. Joseph, kind of a mysterious character. He has no words recorded in Scripture, so we really don't know much of what he thought, at least as far as his words go. I've heard a joke from some people that say that it's no wonder that Mary didn't sin. Her husband said no words, and her child was the Son of God. And while that may be true, we have a lot to learn from St. Joseph, even without his words. We know that he was a man of action. He got things done. And even though we don't have his words, his actions have endured, which is a good way to be known as someone who gets things done, who doesn't just say something, but they actually do what needs to be done. He is a protector of families and of nations, and today would be a good day to entrust our families and their safety to St. Joseph and begin that novena, that 9 days of prayer. Let's start it today and conclude it next week. Let's see, what else do I have to tell you? Ask him to protect your family, ask him to protect our country, and let's ask him for the grace and strength, not just to be a man or a woman of words, but most importantly, a man or a woman of Christ who gets things done, who does God's actions. One last thought on St. Joseph, and I know I'm not the first one to think of this. St. Joseph's life in the Bible was one of dealing with problems, with crises, with very serious dangers and disasters. He, of all people, can relate to what you and I are going through right now in our life and in the church. He was forced to flee his home with Mary and Jesus and leave the comforts of family, of worship in the temple, and of his work as they had to hide in Egypt. For several years, they remained there until it was safe to come back home. Now, you and I aren't fleeing a murderous Herod, but we are sort of fleeing, so to speak, a deadly virus. And for the time being, it may be what separates us from family, from friends, from work, and even worship now in our churches. And so I think it's very good for us today and throughout this struggle to go to St. Joseph. He knows that pain, he knows that fear, but he also knows how to show us to remain faithful and hopeful in the ways that he did to protect Mary and Jesus. And so for today, my thing that I'm grateful for is St. Joseph and how our faith gives us inspiring examples of holy men and women to help us live out our faith in our own time and circumstances. So I hope the rest of your day is full of blessings. Let's remember we really are blessed and that Jesus is Lord even over COVID-19.